Hey there, I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse, and today we have from Semisonic, Little Bit of Sun. When I discovered that Semisonic was dropping a new album, I was floored. The late 90s power pop band responsible for Closing Time that hadn't put out an album since 2001, they were back after Dan Wilson had spent decades behind the scenes writing classic pop songs. They were actually back? It gave me an easy excuse to go re-listen to Semisonic's entire discography, and where I came to the stark realization that a band can be both wildly underrated and a little bit overrated at the same time. The unique set of openly nerdy dudes in adult alternative who wrote earnestly about sex that suggested they actually had it fairly regularly, with rock-solid compositional fundamentals and some quirky but understated production, but also Dan Wilson's always been a little limited as a singer, and keeping everything consistently tasteful meant the albums lacked that added punch to put them over the top in the way that the best from, say, the Bare Naked Ladies or Fountains of Wayne did for me. But Dan Wilson had spent the last 20 plus years only refining his melodic chops. I really wanted this to be great, and thus it kind of breaks my heart for me to say that it was really underwhelming, and I'm a little angry at myself for being as disappointed as I am, because in retrospect, an album like this is not remotely surprising. I should have known better. Dan Wilson has grown into a better singer, but he's still rather frail behind the mic. He can craft solid melodic tunes with a lot of familiar power chords, but they rarely rise to being some great earworms. And the production is also very cleanly polished with the occasional blast of flashy horns, but it slots into a very middle-aged brand of adult alternative radio. It's a very comfortable listen. What more could you want? Well, just because a record feels middle-aged doesn't mean it can't showcase a more burnished flair that comes with veteran experience instead of playing things so safe. Both Laurie McKenna and Jason Isbell contribute to this album in either the lyrics or the guitar work, and they might as well be the poster children of this. But what I find a lot more glaring is the lack of what made Semisonic so unique or special in the first place. Yeah, the electronic flourishes didn't always work on All About Chemistry, but why get rid of them altogether instead of trying to refine them? Instead going for some of these choppy, washed out faux psychedelic touches that feel even more inconsistent, even if the whole revving tones on It Wasn't Like We Hoped It Would Be were kinda nifty, I guess. And what happened to this band's sense of humor or some level of provocation? It was low-key and understated, sure, but it was charming as all hell, and it balanced out Semisonic's more earnest side really effectively. Now they don't have that balance, alongside feeling very self-referential about being in the music industry, having only made it for a brief snapshot, and a surprising number of songs feel very downbeat and haggard about getting older and struggling to keep moving on. Yes, it's gonna end on an optimistic note with Beautiful Sky featuring Jim James of My Morning Jacket. That was kinda to be expected, but it makes chunks of this album, especially on the back half, and it's relatively short, but also feeling like a slog or cloyingly saccharine. But again, none of this is that surprising from Dan Wilson or Semisonic. It's probably what their older fans want. It runs on good taste and comfort and relatability, in the same way a late period Bare Naked Ladies album would. From what I know about Semisonic and the years away from the spotlight, this project feels very authentic to their experiences. They have nothing left to prove. You should meet it on that level. But I'm sorry, it doesn't exactly make it interesting or essential listening, especially when there was that quirkier side that helped them stand out, and that's no longer here. Now, there are moments I like. The title track is catchy as hell. The Rope has Jason Isbell shredding opposite the horns. That was fun. And Keep Me in Motion's probably my favorite song here, just off that bass lick. But outside of those, it's a very safe comeback in which you're not missing that much, even if you wanted more Semisonic. I hate to say it. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more reviews, please be sure to like, share, drop comments, and subscribe. I know I'm going to make some people very, very angry with this review. Look, I really wanted to love this. I genuinely did. Semisonic made some excellent power pop albums in the late 90s and early 2000s, but this just isn't that special. It didn't stick. I really wish it would have. Beyond that, though, if you want to get projects on my schedule, link to my Patreon's right over there. And as always, I'm Mark. You're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.